Hello everyone, this is Mr. Brain Junkie here, and today we'll be talking about a science fiction film called Jupiter Ascending. Be ready for some spoilers ahead. Somewhere in the far corners of the universe, an entire civilization appears to have vanished, leaving only buildings and cars behind. Apparently, the population was harvested by a powerful family known as the Abrasics, consisting of the eldest brother Baalim, the younger brother Titus, and their sister Kalik. All three children have inherited numerous planets from their recently deceased mother, and they're obviously fighting over the estates. The youngest brother is quite envious towards Baalim, who obtained a valuable planet known as Earth that's worth more than all his properties combined. Somewhere in the city of Chicago, a woman named Jupiter is working as a cleaner for the rich neighbors, and she seems to hate her job very much. Her family doesn't offer her much help either, as they refuse to lend her money, only wanting her to work for them like a slave. Jupiter's cousin is the worst out of everyone else, as he wants the girl to sell her eggs like a chicken to the pharmacy so that he can make a few extra bucks. Surprisingly, the woman actually agrees to this, as she also desires to buy something that's way out of her budget. At night, a mysterious hunter named King goes to a clinic in order to search for his bounty. It turns out that the man is looking for the main character, and he's able to identify her using smell alone. However, he quickly notices other bounty hunters outside the building, waiting to ambush him the moment he goes out. King prepares the weapons and activates the boots that allows him to levitate in the air. The man rushes outside where multiple shots are bombarded towards him, but King is able to dodge them effectively and block them using his shield. He manages to counter quickly and wounds one of the assassins, taking the opportunity to escape from the enemies. Apparently, they're hired by Lord Baalim to track down Jupiter as well, but the leader plans to betray their master alongside his most trusted comrade. The hunters reported their findings to Baalim's sister, Kalik, who offers them a better deal compared to her brother. At the same time, Lord Baalim has received the news from his team about the girl, but the hunters were not able to retrieve any photos, only her genetic identifier from the clinic. Baalim orders his minions to go through everyone around the woman's address and kill her immediately upon confirming her identity. Back on Earth, Jupiter is cleaning the house for her employer, who struggles about what to wear for the upcoming date. When the woman goes to grab a dress for her friend, she notices something wrong as she sees the woman being lifted in the air by multiple aliens trying to identify her genetics. Suddenly, Jupiter's phone rings and startles the creatures, causing them to rush aggressively towards her. Moments later, the two are returned to their previous locations with their memories erased, but Jupiter can't help but feel that something is not right. She arrives at the clinic after work, but notices everyone staring at her strangely. The nurse calls the woman in for the operation, but Jupiter begins panicking after the physicians begin tying up her arms and legs, levitating her into the air. The doctors confirm that they have the right person and proceeds to try and kill her. Luckily, Kane rushes in just in time and begins shooting at the imposters, revealing that they're in fact the aliens from before. The little monsters attack the hunter like wild beasts, but the man is able to knock them back and kill them with his weapon before taking Jupiter to a safe place. Apparently, King is working for Baalim's brother Titus, who's well aware of his siblings' plan to eliminate the girl. The man tries to explain that he's a bioengineered human who has the DNA of canines, and that she's far from the only intelligent species in the universe. King tells her that she's likely targeted by a powerful man who wants her dead and they must leave right now. The hunter brings Jupiter outside the building and carries her in the air as they prepare to board the ship that was sent here by Titus. Their escape is quickly interrupted when multiple enemy ships appear from the atmosphere and fire at them, destroying their only way out from this planet. The huge explosion sends both of them flying, but King is able to recover quickly and catch the woman before she drops to her death. The hunter tries escaping while carrying Jupiter, but the enemies follow closely behind and begin shooting furiously at them. King is able to dodge the attacks using his amazing agility and block the shots with the shield, but the aliens cause tremendous damage as they break through everything in their way. After escaping a giant explosion, the hunter manages to land on one of the enemies as the ship begins to accelerate quickly, trying to throw both of them off. King tries to hang on desperately and eventually is able to open the ship's door and throw out the alien, planning to use the vehicle for himself. The enemies pursue him closely behind while shooting continuously, but King is able to evade the attacks and destroy them one by one. The last alien charges directly at the hunter, but Kane counters at the last moment, slicing the enemy into pieces. He catches onto the falling woman once again and finally brings her to safety after destroying the entire army. In order to find a reliable shelter away from the enemies, Kane brings Jupiter to one of his comrades called Stinger, who's also a genetically engineered human. The man quickly notices that the bees are acting strangely around Jupiter as they all seem to listen to the woman's command. He immediately kneels down and realizes her true identity as a member of the royal family. Stinger explains that bees are engineered to have the ability to recognize royalty, and the fact that she can control the insects means that she's of royal descent. Apparently, Stinger was Kane's commanding officer in the military, but the latter attacked the person from the royal family, which resulted in both of their wings being cut off as punishment. This is also why Kane has agreed to work for Titus, as he wants to help his comrade get back what they have lost. Stinger tells Jupiter that the people on Earth were evolved from a distant planet called Oris. The original humans combined their DNA into a species on Earth and grew a population that multiplies exponentially. When the species numbers reach a tipping point, the original humans will begin a process called the harvesting. Their conversation is cut short when the bees begin flying chaotically inside the room, indicating that enemies are nearby. Stinger quickly takes the woman away while Kane decides to stay and give them time to escape. The man shoots furiously at the enemies outside, but gets knocked away by a massive shockwave. He recovers quickly and begins attacking the invaders, knocking them out as he deflects the incoming shots from the enemies. Stinger brings Jupiter outside and is quickly attacked by numerous aliens, but the man is able to kill them using his weapon. However, they eventually run into one of the hunters who knocks Stinger to the ground using a powerful shockwave. Jupiter tries to use the beast to attack the enemy in order to buy her time to escape, but the man recovers quickly and fires at her, knocking her unconscious. The aliens quickly surround the girl, but before she can be killed, multiple shots are fired towards them as the leader of the hunters betray his team and kill off everyone. Kane rushes out from the house after killing all the hunters, but only to see that Jupiter is being taken into the spaceship. He rushes towards the vehicle desperately while using his flying boots and grabs onto the plane before takeoff. The bounty hunters eventually arrive at a planet that looks very similar to Earth, and they enter the atmosphere in order to meet with Kalik, the sister of Balaam. Kane takes the chance to escape from the ship and waits for the right time in order to save the girl from her captors. At night, Jupiter wakes up in a fancy room and is greeted by Kalik herself, but she's quickly astonished by the girl's appearance. The woman takes Jupiter to a room full of candles, where a statue that appears to resemble the main character stands in front of them. The woman learns that Kalik is actually 14,000 years old, and the statue is her mother, who died not so long ago. Apparently, Jupiter is born genetically identical to Kalik's mother, meaning that she has the right to their inheritance, which includes the planet Earth. Kalik shows Jupiter her Lazarus pit, where she enters the pool and regains her youth almost immediately. She explains that they have the means to revive the human cells and express that the most valuable commodity is time itself. However, their conversation is cut short when Kane rushes in to save Jupiter, threatening that he's called the law enforcers known as the Aegis towards their location. Surprisingly, Kalik doesn't stop the hunter, only wishing Jupiter good fortune in the future. The two board the ship of the officers, where the captain plans to take Jupiter to the planet Oris so that she may claim the title to the inheritance. After changing into something more comfortable, the woman thanks Kane for rescuing her once again and tries seducing the man with her female assets. Kane tells her that it's a bad idea since he's more related to dogs than humans, but Jupiter becomes more excited as she apparently has a thing for canines. Upon realizing that the woman is a furry, Kane leaves right away, not wanting to pay any child supports in the future. After some time, the group finally arrives at humanity's birthplace and sees a massive planet that's embedded in technology. With the help of an android, Jupiter is able to claim her title after going through a series of ridiculous processes. Just before they can celebrate, the two are surrounded by mercenaries sent by Titus here to capture the main character. Jupiter is brought towards the second brother of the Abrasix family, and the man assures her that he's on her side. He takes the woman to their storage area and shows her the countless bottles of human essence, each are made from hundreds of people that are grown by the family. Jupiter is shocked at this realization and drops the container, but Titus promises her that he feels the same disgust. He tells her that much like his mother before she died, he plans to stop the farming of human beings and wants the woman to be his wife and take over his properties in case he was killed by his siblings. However, the man's true objective is quickly revealed as he plans to terminate Kane for not bringing the woman to him like they planned. The marriage that Titus proposed was only to obtain Earth from Jupiter, and he plans to kill her right after the ceremony. King is furious at this realization as Titus plans to send him out into space, but the hunter is able to take the emergency suits in the last moment as he flies into the void. After struggling in zero gravity, King manages to put on one of the suits and save himself temporarily as he only has 30 minutes of oxygen. Luckily, the spaceship from Aegis arrives at the man's location right before he suffocates, and King tells the officers about the plan of Titus. He recruits Stinger, and the two plans to crash the wedding in order to stop Titus from killing the woman and stealing the planet from her. They go inside the battle suits provided by the Aegis and flies quickly towards their enemy. At the same time, Titus is able to convince Jupiter to marry him after gaining her trust by giving the woman a pardon for the crimes that King has committed alongside his commander. She wears the wedding gown provided by the man and walks towards the ceremony, only to see a crowd of people cheering in the celebration. Jupiter goes on the platform and levitates towards the center, but Titus realizes that the invaders are heading towards their ship and orders the drones to stop them no matter the cost. A horde of warhammers are sent towards the two hunters, but they're able to open a way into the massive formation by shooting furiously at the drones. The machines are able to cause great difficulty as they try to block the hunters, but King is able to break through alongside his commander as they dodge all the enemies. Before Titus can finish the marriage by printing the ring onto Jupiter's finger, King crashes into the massive ship and flies towards the woman, forcing the men to stop the schemes. Jupiter is shocked at the man's betrayal, but only leaves the place with King without killing the schemer. The woman gives the hunter the pardon that she took from Titus and tells him that all she wants right now is to go back to her families. However, when they arrive back on Earth, Jupiter notices that her house has been infiltrated and her family is nowhere in sight. Balim's minions appear from the shadows and assures that the woman's families are safe for the time being, but threatens to kill them unless Jupiter hands over Earth to his lord. With no other choice, the main character agrees to go to Balim knowing fully that she may never return. The Aegis follows Balim's men closely as they enter the atmosphere of Jupiter, but the enemies quickly close down the portal upon entry and forces their ship to abort as the massive gravity from the planet tries to rip them apart. Jupiter is brought to a large room where she finally meets the infamous Balim of the Abrasix family. He shows the woman her families who are being prepared to be extracted and demands that she give him back the planet of Earth. After seeing her mother about to be killed like a common animal, Jupiter begs the men to let them go and promises to give him the planet. Meanwhile, King contemplates as he stares at the massive planet, but after hearing the encouraging words from his commander, the man decides to save the woman no matter the cost. He gets into a combat suit and flies directly into the eye of the planet, rushing into the hurricanes as lightning strikes him repeatedly. King arrives closer and closer towards the portal as the atmosphere tears apart his vehicle piece by piece. The man continues to charge forwards and eventually breaks through the shields and crashes into the giant factory. At the same time, Jupiter has realized that if she hands over the planet to Balim, she not only has doomed everyone on Earth, but the man will probably never let her family go as well. She decides to make the bold move of sacrificing herself so that no one on the planet will suffer the same fate. Their conversation is interrupted when Balim notices the gases leaking into the factory and orders his men to stop it right away. A large explosion shakes the ground as King rushes in to kill all the enemies and save Jupiter's family. Balim rushes towards the girl and tries to kill her, but she retaliates and kicks the man right in the family jewels before being saved by the hunter. King fights furiously with the aliens and kills them one by one, while Jupiter quickly relocates her family away from danger. The gases begin to spread throughout the factory as flames consume everything in sight, causing the people to evacuate quickly from the planet. The Aegis sees this and rushes towards the portal, trying to save their comrades who are trapped inside. While trying to save her families, Jupiter is ambushed by Balim, who tries to kill her out of vengeance, but the two are quickly taken underground as the floor caves in from the explosions. They're dragged into a tunnel as they continue to fall, but Jupiter is able to catch herself and escape from the enemy. Meanwhile, King manages to make contact with the Aegis and brings all the humans on board away from the exploding planet and tells the officers to wait for him as he goes to rescue the main character. On the other side, Balim appears behind Jupiter before she can escape and strikes her down, trying to kill the woman as he forces her towards the edge of the building. He confesses that he was the one responsible for killing his own mother and swears that he'll do the same to her reincarnation, but the villains always talk too much before killing their prey, giving the woman a chance to retaliate retaliate and regain the advantage. The buildings around them starts falling apart, and the two begin sliding towards the cliff, throwing Balim into the air as he screams hopelessly. Soon, Jupiter is thrown off the platform as well, but unlike the villain, her friend catches her just in time and prevents her from being killed. They rush towards the Aegis as the facility is covered in flames, and the giant spaceship is forced to begin opening the wormhole to escape this area. Kang continues to fly towards the ship while carrying his friend, and a bright light appears as everything is teleported away right into the airspace of Earth. Luckily, the two made it just in time as they drift on the outer reaches of the planet, overlooking the beautiful marble that contains billions of lives. Sometimes later, Kang has regained his wings and embraces Jupiter warmly before the two finally share a passionate kiss. They fly off into the distance as the woman has given Earth a new purpose and freed her people from their terrible fates. So what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like my video, please press like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time.